show up. This team is ruining my life. I'm taking crazy pills. With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Victory, Puppy Ziggy. Okay, here, you get one treat for each goal. You get one. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta go. It's a heist. It's a heist. Come here. I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about it. They don't ask how, they ask how many, but you should ask how because it's way funnier. Leafs win 2-1 in overtime in a heist over the New Jersey Devils in New Jersey. I went to thesaurus.com, that's a tough word, and asked it for synonyms for heist. Break-in, caper, hold-up, larceny, theft, crime, pilferage, rip-off, stick-up, sting, breaking and entering, 5-finger discount. The Toronto Maple Thieves! Listen, is it better to play well and win? Yeah. The only reason this video is not called heist is because I already used it 10 games ago in a game against the Caps. Leafs, hey! Don't you go making a habit of this, not you. No, Anthony, you keep that up. Yeah. Because how did they win that game? I've had to go into the backyard to get samples for the vet that were better than that Leafs performance, and they got 2 points out of it. They said several different numbers on the broadcast, but according to NHL.com, a little while after the game, the shots were officially 39-16 in favor of the Devils. If you doubled the Leafs shots on goal, they still would have a gap between them and the Devils that was as big as the amount of shots the Leafs had through like the first, 45 minutes? And that game was dumb. That game was unhinged all the way around because, yes, Anthony STOLE-ARZ stole everything. The Leafs had about, 15, 16 2-on-1s, shorthanded, nearly all of them. I lost track, and I don't think they got a shot on goal on any of them. Seeing people talking about what the heck's wrong with Austin Matthews, then he can't hit the net all of a sudden, apparently. His legs and brain appear to be working fine. The Devils had more shots in the first 4 or 5 minutes of this game than the Leafs did in the first 45. The first period was one of the worst periods I've ever seen the Leafs play. Like, just talk about getting your show run. One shot, one? I don't think the Leafs have ever been happier to head into first intermission with a tie. And don't worry, I'm getting to it because I am just sitting there as Sheldon Keefe's team outshoots the dog crap out of their opponent with a shot total that is well into the teens and a shots against of 1. And no word of a lie, not even kidding, I have not seen a Sheldon Keefe coached team dominate their opponent like that in a single period since Game 6 against Montreal. And 2 things bothered me about that thought. Number 1 is that I am never getting over it. And number 2, Travis Dermott is very obviously not coming down the tunnel in a Devils uniform. But oh, the dreamers, you fools who dream. I didn't see a ton of Leafs fans saying this. Some did, but it was people outside of the fan base. Drew. This is Drew. I saw Drew say this. He basically said the Leafs are going to win this game because it would be a very Leafy win and a very Keefe loss. This really was the heavyweight battle of Leafy versus Keefe. And midway through the second, it seemed like the powers of Keefe were stronger. Just as it seemed the Leafs had lost the plot, it turns out it wasn't. It was the plot. No, hey, don't boo. It was a good one. It was a good one. The Devils attack. Leafs go, get away from here. And the Devils attack again. Jesper Bratt, who's on absolute fire this season, sends it over to Andre Palat, and he snipes. How does he only have 4? His 4th goal in his 30th game in the season. It's okay, just wait for the playoffs. He's gonna get a hat trick first game. But the relief on his face, you could tell the Devils were getting the yips. They started to wonder if they were ever gonna beat Anthony STOLE-ARZ, and they finally did. Stolar standing on his skull and brain, this unbeatable 6'7" behemoth, and the Devils started to believe it was never actually going to happen. And when it did, the look on their faces, I wondered if the floodgates were about to open. And maybe it's just me, maybe there's a little bit of confirmation bias in there, but the opposite happened. The Devils immediately took their foot off the gas. And even though they still continued to play well, It wasn't nearly as dominant as it was, and they slowly, steadily let the Leafs back into the game. As Craig Berube is just on the bench, button mashing, we're gonna put Fraser Minten on the first line. What, you're demoting Matthews? No, he's like wing now. What, okay. Fraser Minten's first professional game was 5 minutes ago. Nikita Grabenkin just got sent down, and Minten's gotta be like, well, but guess I'm next. And he finds himself skating on a line with 34 and 16. Max Domi back in the lineup, and that dude is the human personification of button mashing. Every line was absolutely all over the place. It led to chaos, but still the Leafs' only chances of the game, forget best, only chances of the game came shorthanded. Matthews and Marner on 2-on-1s. And even though the Devils didn't run away with it after that first goal like I had feared, the Leafs are down 1-0 heading into the third, and there is no reason, zero, not one, to believe that they are going to win this game other than, wouldn't it be funny? No. None of you were sitting there going, here's how they do it. And it's going to be this, and that, and that. None of you were going through the X and O's. Dude, I need to see Craig Berube's speech. All right, boys, I played hundreds of games in the NHL, coached hundreds of games in the NHL, I even won a Stanley Cup. But let me tell you, this might seem like a random December regular season game to you. It's not. It's not. You have a chance to staple your legacy to the funniest hockey game you're ever going to play. Bar none, there is no reason that you should be winning this game, but consider this. Wouldn't it be funny? Do you deserve to win this game? No. Should you win this game? No. Is there any reason to not expect you're going to lose this game by at least 5 goals? No. That's why it's hilarious. Now, go out there and break hockey for no reason somehow. Pontus Holmberg just sitting there like, wouldn't it be funny if I scored, coach? Hot dang it, Pontus, now you're cooking with gasoline. Go get him, kid. Okay, but who's gonna pass me that? Ryan Ritt, too obvious. Connor Dewar, 5-on-5? Pontus, you keep asking the right questions, I'm naming you captain. Don't give me that look, Tone. Hit the net. That is verbatim, word for word, bar for bar, what Craig Berube said, and then they did it! Connor Dewar just, would not be denied. Unbelievable work. Defensive zone, neutral zone, O-zone! Dude, Connor Dewar, since coming back from injury, his game hasn't led to a ton of offense, but you can't have him mic'd up because he plays every game like he's just screaming. Pontus shoots it and underratedly, we didn't talk enough about how the goal that the Leafs were inevitably gonna score has to suck. Jake Markstrom continues to be one of the most difficult to solve goalies in the entire NHL, and I don't mean score on. He's Swedish Ilya Samsonov with a better resume and agent. And also, he's better. No, but like, that's Sammy in a nutshell. How does Sheldon get him 2 years in a row? Because he has games where you're like, this guy might actually be like a top 10 goalie in the league. Then he has games where you want to tether a bungee cord to him, so just stay in your net. I shouldn't have to yell, go to the net to my goalie. And he could have like a .930 save percentage on the season and then allow a goal that goes through him like a gentle breeze. I had several loud reactions to this game that might surprise you a little bit, but a belly laugh, like a genuine, hard, holding my ribs belly laugh is on the TSN broadcast where they go, that is Pontus Holmberg's first goal on a goalie. I had forgotten. And shame on me because I only had one to remember. It was an empty netter. That was Pontus Holmberg's first his first goal on a goalie this season, and overtime. Why not? To start overtime, the Devils started the way they started the game, dominating the Leafs. Although, dominating in air quotes. The first 2 minutes of that overtime were a solid argument for just getting rid of 3-on-3 altogether. It's not hockey as much as it is a line-changing competition. Which team is the better team at changing lines? That's it. Like, you know, sometimes you'll be watching a game, like every few games, and it's like, oh, that wasn't the right time to change. And oh, look at that, it led to a goal. Oh, that could cost them. How often does that happen to your team? Every couple weeks? Once a month? Like, how often does that happen to your team? Like every 5 to 10 games? That's nearly every 3-on-3 goal. Well, let's break down what happened on this, but he changed. He shouldn't have changed. Feel the electricity! But then, after a save at one end, puck is on the other side of everybody because the Devils got a little too excited, and it's Poppy. He might get a breakaway. He does get a breakaway. He's on a breakaway. Scores! Austin Matthews, when he hits the net, he's hitting the back of it, and the Leafs steal 2 points from the hands of the Devils and leave. At At the end of the season, wherever they finish up, the Devils are going to look for those 2 points and say, Anthony, STOLE-ARZ. Questions. Actually, let's start the questions. I got so excited, I forgot about one of the turning points of the game. Max Pacioretty absolutely labeling Jack Hughes. Look at the screenshot. Not a major, not a minor, not nothing. No penalty, yet the whistle went. And I have a question there. If this isn't an infraction, what's the whistle for? Oh, is the whistle because the Devils stopped playing hockey? And they went after the guy who laid a hit that was not an infraction? That's just so weird, because Simone Benoit threw the puck over the glass, and it's a delay of game penalty. That's what they call it, because when the puck goes out of bounds, you have to stop the game, thus delaying it. It's delay of game. What's this? What do you call this when the other team stops playing hockey and you have to stop play for no good reason? What is that? Just something to consider for the next time this happens. Hey, where's the, how come we gotta stop for every illegal hit brigade? Where's that? Now, if I was a Devils fan, I wouldn't love that hit. I understand. But as we just recently got that beautiful, nice little video from the NHL a little under a month ago for Zach Whitecloud's hit on Matthew Nyes and why that hit, despite the head contact, was not illegal because we have that. I look at this hit from Max Pacioretty on Jack Hughes, and I look at all aspects of it, and I go, it's close, but it's okay. Is the head the main point of contact? Was head contact unavoidable? And injury on the play. Thank goodness Jack Hughes popped right back up, obviously. But Max Pacioretty, who has randomly just started hitting everything that moves this season, that was a big part of changing the tide of the game. The first Leaf to show up tonight who wasn't named Anthony STOLE-ARZ, and it only took about 40 minutes. All right, now let's get to the fun part. Sportsnet reporter Luke Fox quoting Sheldon Keefe after the game. Best goaltending in the league on the other side of the ice. He just said that. No shot. Do you know how many times Sheldon said that while he was Leafs coach? Do you know how many times? He said it enough times that I'm like, Sheldon, there can only be one best goalie in the world. Now, he's getting dunked on a lot for that. Here's the difference. The Keefe Leafs played a bunch of games where they would get 35, 40, 45 shots on a goalie, and they cannot score at all. And after the game, you're like, okay, wait, they got a lot of shots. How many were dangerous? How many? 2? Was it 2? That was not the case tonight. Anthony STOLE-ARZ stole both, both points in the standings. There was no reason the Leafs should have won that at all. It was all him, beginning, middle, and all him. Boy, did that joke just tickle my ribs. Can you believe the Leafs got more points out of this game than they got shots in the first half of the game? Oh my God, that's barely even exaggerated. Good one. That's a good one. The home burglar scored. Stoley the goalie literally stole the win. Poppy stabs them in the heart with a dagger. Did we just witness a criminal masterpiece? That's a great question. Let me stop you right there. The home burglar? No, you're not just gonna start with the home burglar and walk away. I guess my return question would be, how dare you come up with something that incredible? WTF? Yeah, no, I don't know. It's a great question. Also, yeah, if I were you, I'd feel that way too. It's a very good point. Just to rub it in, here's Anthony STOLE-ARZ after the game with the heavyweight belt, and that's Joseph Woll and Connor Dewar. I know you didn't know, but he assisted on the one goal they got in regulation, so put some respect. How does it feel to be on the other side of a Keefe Classic with the response, so this is what it feels like to goalie a team, eh? I like it. Also, I didn't like it. Listen, when I said, did I not say this? Sheldon Keefe was the perfect coach for the New Jersey Devils. I meant it as a compliment, wrapped in some concerns. Because think about what the Toronto Maple Leafs have been over the past 5 years, right? And yeah, that's like COVID, right? There's some COVID in there. But think about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Think about all the good, all the bad. Now think of the Devils. The New Jersey Devils, in a lot of ways, have a very similar build to teams that the Leafs have iced in recent years. The difference, I think, is they have a little bit more depth of firepower because the contract situation is better. They have, I mean, Dougie Hamilton is a far better right-handed shot defenseman than the Leafs ever had under Sheldon Keefe. He probably has the best D-core he's ever coached in the NHL. But without the double-digit contracts that were on the Leafs, Jack Hughes is on a pretty sweet deal, and Nico Hischier, and it allows you to go out and get other guys, and you're getting performances from guys like Stefan Nason down the lineup. It allows you to go out and spend on a guy like Brendan Dillon. And get an entirely new goalie tandem in Jake Allen and Jake Markstrom. But, and I'm surprised to still be saying this, because at the beginning of this season, I didn't think this was the problem. This is still one of the softest teams in the league. This team can't crack an egg. Max Pacioretty wallpapers your top young star, one of the best players in the league, and you politely asked him what his deal was? What was that? There should be gloves all over the place like a confetti cannon full of them went off, and you did nothing? Matthew Nyes puts a guy into the dasher, who is it, Kovacevic? And he gets a 2-minute penalty for it, and the Devils go to the power play, and yes, it's a 1-goal game, and our strength is in our power play. Are you buying that nonsense? The strength is in our power play is a great theory until it doesn't work. They didn't score. I think the Devils are a great team. They're an unreal team. They're a team on the up. Invest in Devils stock. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them go on a deep run. But one of the things they're going to have to figure out if they want to go on that deep run, you got to figure out how to not get bullied every time I watch you. It's Max Pacioretty. Grab him! Grab anybody! Well, the Leafs have Reeves on the bench. Yeah, on the bench! The non-reaction to that hit and also the Kovacevic hit are deeply concerning. And I think if you're on the Devils, it's easy to say, oh, we'll just forget about that one. As you're watching this video right now, I think every guy on that team is still thinking about that one. You win some, you lose some. You should never 1,000 times out of 1,000 lose that one. Nope, never. And you're gonna be mad. And sometimes when you're mad, you think of other reasons to be mad. And if I'm Mr. J. Hughes or Kovacevic, might add that to the list. Go to the net a little harder, you might score on one of those almost 40 shots. Getting a few more scraps when your teammates get dummied, they probably get dummied a little less, and even if they don't, you end up feeling better about it. I look at the Devils and I see the similarities, the good and the bad, between them and Leaf teams of the last 3-4 years. What do you think? What do you think of that notion? What do you think of that game? What do you think it's going to take for the Leafs to play a decent game? That's their 5th straight mediocre game, I would say, and somehow in those 5 games, they're 3-2. Oh, and one last thing. I forgot to mention this. I was watching the first period and going, why do the Leafs always play like garbage in front of STOLE-ARZ and better in front of Wool? Joseph Wool has played 10 games this season. He's only been outshot, like the Leafs have only been outshot in 3 of the games that Joseph Wool has played. One of those was a 3-0 win, and the Leafs probably had fewer shots because they were leading the entire time. The other was the 5-3 win that they had over Tampa recently, but again, they were running them out of the building, and score effects caused the Leafs to get outshot in this one. Last game against Pittsburgh was the first time the Leafs lost in a game where they were outshot with Joseph Wool in net this season. The Leafs have allowed 30 or more shots with Joseph Wool in net twice in 10 games. So I looked into it. Do the Leafs actually play better in front of Wool or STOLE-ARZ? So I looked at shots for and against. With Joseph Wool in net, the Leafs have 314 shots on goal to 275 shots against. That is a differential of plus 39. So they have 39 more shots than their opponent when Joseph Wool is in net. On average, the Leafs outshoot their opponent 31.4 shots for to 27.5 shots against per game. That's really good. The Leafs, with Anthony STOLE-ARZ in net, were on average getting outshot before this game even began. After this game, it's 436 shots for, 475 shots against, and it is negative 39 for the differential. So Joseph Wool, positive 39. Anthony STOLE-ARZ, negative 39. On average, the Leafs are outshot 27.25 to 29.69. Not nice. What is that about? Some of that has got to be their opponent, quality of competition, but like I feel like most of Joseph Wool's starts this season have been without Matthews in the lineup, because to me there is no doubt that Anthony STOLE-ARZ has been an absolute miracle worker. This is not a criticism of him. This is to illustrate how miraculous every Leaf win with him in net is. But also, they really seem to play better in front of Wool, don't they? What's up with that? Let me know what you think of that in the comment box down below, what you think of the Pacioretty hit on Jack Hughes, what you think of everything to do with this goofy team. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Hockey is so friggin' awesome. I'm on Cameo if you want a cameo. Drew, can you link to that in the description? Thank you.